Hey, everybody, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Today is another Freight Broker Bootcamp Live, like every Monday at noon. Today's a holiday. It's Columbus Day or Indigenous Native American Day or whatever you want to call it in your neck of the woods. But today I'm going to share with you something a little bit off the beaten path from what I normally talk about, but I think it's really, really important. And that is, I'm going to share with you 5 tips for freight brokers that want to retire rich. Okay. Retirement is the topic of this conversation. And it may seem a little bit weird because a lot of you are startups or had just launched their business in the last year or two, but this is a very important topic. And it's a mistake that I see a lot of entrepreneurs, including freight brokers and freight agents, making. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Thank you for joining me. If you're catching this on replay, hit me up in the comments with hashtag replay. Let me know. I'd love to hear from my replay folks. And for those of you that are catching me live, hit me up in the comments here and let me know where you're logging in from. I'm from the Buffalo, New York area, as you guys probably well know. Give me a heads up on where you're at. I'll try to give you guys some shout outs before we get started with the training. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the agenda. First, we are going to do we're going to do the training, okay? Then we're going to do a giveaway. I'm going to give away one of my infamous Freightpreneur shirts, and then we'll go into live Q&A. So for those of you that stick around to the end, I will do some live Q&A. These lives usually last somewhere in the range of 45 minutes to an hour, roughly. This one, I'm going to try to keep this a little bit shorter today. My kids are home because of school, because this is a holiday. And so I'm not sure what we're going to do this afternoon, but we are going to probably get out of the house and do something. So with that in mind, today, for those of you that are catching me, just joining live now, we're going to talk about 5 tips for every freight broker who wants to retire rich. All right. So I'm going to give you 5 tips, very important things that you need to understand, even as a startup, even before you begin your business, depending upon where you are in your journey. So let me start with some shout outs here really quick. Let's see what we got. All right. We have Joe Almighty from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Nelson Sanchez from Florida. Welcome. Army Co. from Green Cove Spring, Florida. Wow, Florida is all over the place. We've got Heavyweight Trucking from Pontiac, Michigan. Oscar DM. Oaser DM from Kenosha, Wisconsin. We've got Garaval from Ontario. Tatiana from Palmdale, California. Welcome. Tiffany from Berlin, New Jersey. Williams Freight Logistics from Pompano Beach, Florida. We've got David Cepeda from St. Paul, Minnesota. We've got Mr. and Mrs. King from Knoxville, Tennessee. We got Sherry Ramos from Miami, Florida. Veronica Sanchez from Brownsville, Texas. We've got Dina Heaton from Silver City, North Carolina. We got Aaron Dorley from Newberry, South Carolina. Amanda from Abilene. Welcome, Amanda. Joseph Holt from Nashville. Cartez Johnson from Louisiana. Brunetta Mooring from Gulfport, Mississippi. Regina Griffin from Raleigh, North Carolina. The Looney family, always in the house, from Miami, Florida. Geez, man, we just skipped here. Sorry about that. Semcar from Denver, Colorado. Mike Frisco from PA. Cyrus from Daytona Beach, Florida. Welcome, Cyrus. We got April 2020 PK from Charleston, South Carolina. Tej Singh from Toronto. My good friend Tej from Toronto. Emmanuel from Hagerstown, Maryland. Savannah from San Antonio, Texas. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you. I'm truly humbled that you take time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes with me today. Now, again, the agenda is this. I'm going to go over these 5 tips. We're going to do a giveaway of the Freightpreneur t-shirt, and then I'm going to go into live Q&A. Okay. So, but if you want to qualify for the giveaway, okay, if you want a chance to win the Freightpreneur shirt, someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand, I'm going to be giving away one of these shirts. US only. I only ship these to US. This is going to be the physical shirt I'm going to mail out to you. It's absolutely free. I'm going to be giving one away. Here's all you have to do right now. So listen up really quick. No matter where you're listening to this, on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you are, I want you to click the share button and share the stream. Share the stream with your friends on Facebook. Share it on Instagram. Share it on Twitter. share it on LinkedIn, share it wherever you want to share it on social media, but make sure you put that link in there to let people know that I do these live trainings every Monday for free. It's 100% free. There was no paywall. You didn't have to, get out your credit card in order to join these trainings. These are absolutely free. Okay. And so do that right now. Share the stream and then come back into the feed, into the comments and type hashtag shared. Now, this is an honor system. Hashtag shared. That's going to let me know that you actually shared the stream. And that's what's going to qualify you for the drawing after we go through this training. All right. So while you guys do that, for those of you that are just joining me first time or don't know who I am, my name is Dennis Brown. I've been an entrepreneur for over 25 years, been very, very blessed. Did over $200 million as a freight broker. I'm also the owner of freightbrokerbootcamp.com, which is the most cost-effective and comprehensive online freight broker training program available today. We've trained over 10,000 brokers and agents. We've been in business over a decade, and we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. If for any reason you're not happy, nobody does that. And again, we've trained over 10,000 students. You may have heard of some of the success stories. We've done some recent interviews with some of our students that are doing hundreds of thousands a year, millions a year, and even millions per month. We've highlighted some of those students. And so they were all students of Freight Broker Bootcamp at one point. And so check that out. Again, if you're curious about becoming a freight broker, freight agent, check it out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com. All right. So listen, again, if you want to qualify for the shirt, okay, we got a bunch of people. If you want to qualify for the giveaway, you need to share the stream. So if you're on Facebook, just click that share button, share it on your stream, okay? Or share it inside of some group that you belong to, whether it be some sort of a freight broker group or logistics group or entrepreneur group, some group that you think might be interested in this type of a training, this type of coaching and training and content. And then come back in and type hashtag shared in the comments, and that will qualify you for the drawing, okay? So we're going to do the drawing after the training. So here we go, guys. All right, so make sure you guys do that if you want to get the shirt. I will send that shirt out probably today. It'll get processed, and you'll get it in the next week or two, okay? I've given away, I don't know how many of these now, probably over 100 shirts, and people absolutely love it. I'm excited about it. Again, it's the Freightpreneur brand, someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. All right, so let's jump into the training. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 tips for freight brokers who want to retire rich. All right. Now, there's some controversy about rich and wealthy and poor and rich and classes and income and inequality. We're not going to get into any of that today. Okay. This is not political. You started your business, or you're interested in starting your business because you're looking partially for financial freedom. That's one of the primary reasons why people start a business or become an entrepreneur. I know it was for me. And so the key here is that one of the biggest mistakes I see entrepreneurs and freight brokers and freight agents making is putting off the retirement. They push off retirement because they're always juggling, should I invest money into my business or should I invest money into my retirement? And the answer is both, okay? You have to do both. And I know that can be challenging because there's only so much money to go around. But the fact is, you cannot put off retirement, right? So I'm going to give you 5 tips. I'm going to share with you 5 tips. These are tips that I wish I knew and or learned along the way. This didn't come inherent, and this is not something they teach you in high school or college. So this is something I wanted to share with you, okay? So number 1 is plan your exit. Plan for exiting the business, whether that be selling the business or turning it over to a family member or whatever the case may be. Plan your exit, but do not overestimate the value of your business. My suggestion to you is to assume that your exit for retirement purposes, okay, for financial planning purposes, assume that your business at the end of the day is going to be worth 0 when you retire. I want you to make that assumption. Now, there's a very good chance that you're going to be able to sell your business like I did. Went on to grow that business last year, 2015. We did over $80 million in sales that year. I sold the business in early 2016, retired from that business. Again, I've continued to do the training. But many brokers who build successful businesses will be able to sell those businesses. But my suggestion to you, tip number one, is do not overestimate the value of that exit, of that sale. That's one of the reasons why entrepreneurs put off retirement, because they assume that their business is their retirement. And that is a huge mistake, in my personal opinion. It's an asset, but it is not your retirement. So if you want to be smart, assume that business, your brokerage, is going to be worth zero to you in retirement. Okay. So that's how we're going to put the plan together. Okay. Number two, you need to set up some sort of a tax advantage retirement plan. Now, you've all heard of these different plans. You've heard of IRAs and Roths and solo 401ks and 401ks and all these different plans. You've heard of all these, right? And so the thing is that you have to understand that these are plans that are set up for businesses and for consumers, individuals, that are designed to help you retire, right? It's very hard to retire without being able to take advantage of these tax advantage plans. Now, things like an IRA or a 401k or those sorts of things, is they allow you to take out pre-tax profit. Now, I'm not going to get into an entire course on this right now, but basically they defer your income and defer your tax till you retire and allow that money to compound over time. Okay. So you get the advantage of compounding interest, which is incredibly powerful. I'm going to share a couple examples with you here about compounding interest. Really, really important that you understand this. All right. So you have to set up a tax advantage retirement plan. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. Now, if you start saving for retirement, excuse me 1 second. I apologize, guys. Excuse me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I apologize. Sorry about that, guys. I apologize if you heard the dogs in the background. My bad. A little bit of chaos. It's a holiday. So point is this, we were talking about tip number one was make sure you plan your exit, but don't overvalue the exit. Tip number two, set up a retirement plan like an IRA or a solo 401k or some sort of a 401k retirement plan and start investing into that pre-tax, right? So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Let's say, for example, I want you to understand the power of compounding interest, right? So I'm going to give you 3 examples. Starting to invest at 22 versus 32 versus 42, okay? So here's an example. If you started investing in your retirement at 22 years old and you saved $500 a month at an average annual return on investment of 8%, just 8% normal return on investment. At the end of your retirement, when you retire at age 65, you'll have $2,255,844 for retirement. That's pretty powerful, right? $500 a month. If you save $500 a month at age 22 and you retire at 65, you'll have over $2.2 million for retirement. All right. Now, here's the thing that you need to understand. If you do that exact same thing at age 32, you start saving $500 a month at 8% interest, and you save that till you're 65, you'll have $972,542. Now, it's still a lot of money, but you can see it's way less. It's way less than starting early, okay? Now, let me give you example number 3. If you start that exact same plan at age 42 and you save $500 a month until you retire at age 65 at an 8% interest rate, you'll have $395,866. Again, still a lot of money. But the difference between starting at 22 versus starting at 42 is $1.86 million. the same amount being saved monthly, the same return on investment, but you get my point about the power of compounding interest and time. So the earlier you can start this type of a retirement plan, the better. I don't care if you're only able to put 50 or 100 or 150 or 200. If you can put 500, great. If you can put 1,000, great. But you got to get started. That's the key. The key is you got to get started, right? So tip number 2 was, as I just explained to you, is set up a tax advantage related retirement plan, an IRA, a 401k, a solo 401k, a SEP, whatever it might be. And you can talk to a financial planner or your accountant about that. They will definitely be able to dig into a lot more details. But I will tell you this, one more thing about the retirement. I don't know if you realize it or not, but if you have a solo 401k set up for your business, you can save up to $58,000 pre-tax can go right into that. There's different rules for a solo 401k than there are for a standard 401k. So if you're a solo broker and maybe it's just you and your wife and you don't have a bunch of employees, you can save up to $58,000 a year. And if you're over 50 like me, okay, you can save an extra $6,500 for a total of over $63,000, right? So that's a lot of money that you can save pre-tax, right? And defer that tax and compound that interest over time, right? So that's number 2. Number 3, do not day trade your retirement. What I mean by that is you see a lot of people day trading stocks these days, day trading with their retirement account or with their investment account. I am not a huge believer in day trading. I think that statistically speaking, most people that day trade lose. In the long term, they lose. Between fees and bad investments, they lose over time day trading. I can tell you that most hedge fund managers can't outproduce the S&P 500 if you were just to buy a mutual fund, right? So the fact is, it's very hard to make money day trading. So don't try to day trade. Keep it simple. Have a solid investment strategy and think long term, okay? So definitely don't day trade. If you want to gamble, because all that really is to me is gambling. If you want to gamble, right, just go to Vegas and call it what it is. Take 500, 1,000, a couple $1,000 and go to Vegas and have a good time. My wife's in Vegas right now. Okay. And she's gambling with a friend of hers and a wedding and doing all kinds of different stuff, having fun. We're totally good with that. It's okay. If you want to gamble a little bit, have at it, but don't do it with your retirement fund. Right. All right. So that's number 3. Number 4, diversify your investments. All right. So if you're younger, let's say you're 22 or 32, or maybe even in your early 40s, you can get pretty aggressive with the types of investments that you make. And I'm not going to get into a bunch of different funds that you're going to invest in. I'm not going to get into all that sort of stuff, or whether I'm buying stocks or funds or ETFs. But my point is, the younger you are, the general rule is the more aggressive you can get with your investments. So you can take a little bit more risk. The older you are, you want to take some of those chips off the table and be a little less risky. So again, I'm 51 years old. I've been investing in retirement for a long time. But the thing is that at 51, I subscribe to getting very diversified, right? And taking a lot of risk off the table. So again, I'm not going to dive into a lot of details, but if you know a gentleman by the name, look up a gentleman by the name of Ray Dalio. Brilliant investor, proven over the last 30 plus years to way outperform the market. He has a portfolio called an all-weather portfolio. That's something that I subscribe to. It's not something that you need to subscribe to. And again, very important disclaimer here. I am not a financial advisor. I don't give financial advice. I'm just giving you my 2 cents about what I've learned about investing and retiring rich as a freight broker. Okay. So I hope you can garner something from this, but obviously you should always seek professional advice from a professional advisor, financial advisor, accountant. Okay. All right. So that's number 4. Number 5, and this is where the rubber hits the road. Save, save, save. You have to save money. You've got to get a way to get a structured savings plan, right? And you should be focusing on the goal of 15 to 20% of your gross income should go into savings and retirement. So that means if you make $10,000 a month, right? If you're generating $10,000 a month in profit into your pocket, you're paying yourself $10,000 a month after expenses. That means $1,500 to $2,000 should be going into your retirement and savings. Now, if you're not making $10,000 a month, it's just a lesser amount. If you were making $1,000 a month, $150 to $200 should be going into your savings. Here's what I know for sure. If you can't save $150 out of $1,000, you won't save $1,500 out of $10,000. So you need to learn how to have a structured savings plan. You need to save. It's very important that you put together some sort of a structured savings plan where it automatically, you pay yourself first, whether that be as an entrepreneur, you put it into a separate account, or whether you're going through payroll and it's automatically deducted from your payroll service before taxes. There's a lot of different options you can have. But I urge you, as a freight broker, as a freight agent, as an entrepreneur, you have to get started saving for retirement. It's not going to happen on its own. And you have to make the assumption, again, number one, that the business is going to be worth nothing and that the exit is going to generate no income for you. And you have to save enough money along the way to retire comfortably, if not rich. And I gave you those examples of how at 22 years old, investing $500 a month at an 8% return, by retirement age, you end up with over $2.2 million for retirement, right? But you got to start now. So I'm going to quickly review those 5. Number 1, plan your exit, but assume that the business is going to be with 0. Number 2, set up a retirement account like an IRA or a Roth or a 401k or a solo 401k. Seek some professional advice there on what you qualify for. Number 3, do not day trade your retirement. Do not day trade stocks. Invest long term, right? Think long term. Number 4, diversify your income. Again, you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. Diversifying your income through different funds and different investment strategies. I'm a big subscriber to the all-weather portfolio from Ray Dalio, but you can choose your own structure, and whether you use a financial advisor or even myself, you can plan a lot of that on your own. Okay. And number 5, save. You have to save. The goal is 15 to 20% of your gross income, right? Not your net, but gross income. So you have to be diligent about that if you want to retire as a rich freight broker. At the end of the day, remember, we're in this for financial freedom. Along the way, we want to make money and enjoy our life, but we also want to have money there and resources there for retirement so that someday we can step away and actually retire, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, make sure you subscribe. And for those of you that are curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent, okay, just check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We've trained over 10,000 students, been in business over a decade, and we offer a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, again, make sure you join me every week. Click the bell, hit the button, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. All right, so guys, listen, I'm not going to take off because we are going to do, I apologize, I got into video mode here, but we are going to do a live giveaway. So don't disappear. Don't disappear. And I'm going to do live Q&A. So definitely don't disappear, okay? Let me grab a quick drink. Now, if you guys want to qualify for the t-shirt, for the giveaway, the Freightpreneur t-shirt, someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand, make sure you click the share button. First, you got to like this video, whether you're on YouTube or whether you're on Facebook. Click the like button right now. Go ahead. Click the like button and then hit the share button. And I want you to share it wherever you can on social, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever you can share it on social, share it. Let other people know about the Freight Broker Bootcamp weekly live training that I do. And in exchange for that, I'm going to pick one winner here in about a minute. I'm going to pick one winner. I'm going to give away the Freightpreneur t-shirt. Okay. So let me grab a quick drink. And I will. All right. So then you got to come back in here and you got to type in the comments, #shared. Don't forget to do that, because if you don't do the #shared, then I'm not going to know that you actually shared it. And again, this is an honor system and you won't have a chance to win if you don't come back in here and type #shared. Okay. So take a minute here, share the stream like Lakita and Bindra and Julianka and David and Tatiana. Yeah, Tatiana, I think, was already a winner in a previous episode. So congrats, Tatiana. She's sharing the stream, and maybe she'll win again. I think Tatiana's already got a t-shirt. Didn't you already win a t-shirt, Tatiana? It's okay if you want to win again. It's not a problem. Stacy shared it. William shared it. Kirsten shared it. Awesome. Ernest Berry shared it. All right, cool. Love it. All right, guys. So 30 more seconds. Yes. Awesome. Way to go, Tatiana. That's sweet. I love it. Yeah, you got to be in it to win it. And all you got to do is share the stream. Super simple, right? It takes you 5 seconds, 10 seconds to share the stream. Make sure you hit the like button and share the stream. Really appreciate it. I want to let everybody know about this. My goal is to grow this to having 1,000 people live every Monday. 1,000 people live. Now, we usually have, live. I'm not talking about views. I'm actual live, somewhere in the range of 100 to 200 live viewers, at any given point, sequentially. I mean, they're live at the same point, right? So I want to build this up to 1,000 people live every Monday. And the only way I can do that is for you guys to help me share the stream. So that's my goal, right? And if when we get to that, I'll do a huge giveaway. When we get to that point, I'll do a huge giveaway when we hit that 1,000 person live, right? Okay, so let's do this. Hold your questions. Till the end when I do the giveaway. I'm going to do the giveaway now. So give me 1 second. I'm going to scroll through, and you know how you guys randomly do it. I just make it very non-scientific. I close my eyes, I scroll my mouse, and wherever my mouse lands, this time it landed on Miki Shea 1. Miki Shea 1. Miki Shea 1 is the winner of the Freightpreneur t-shirt. Congratulations, Miki. Here's all you have to do to claim your prize. Go to the Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page. Okay, so you got to go to Facebook, type Freight Broker Bootcamp if you're not familiar with it, because I think you are on YouTube right now. Go to Freight Broker Bootcamp YouTube page and send me a message with your full name, let me know you won the shirt, your full name, your address, your phone number, and your size. This is a large. They come pretty true to size. I weigh about 195, maybe 200 pounds on a bad day. They come pretty true to size. Let me know your name, address, phone number for tracking purposes, and your size, and I will get this shirt out to you right away. So thank you so much for playing along. I probably murdered your name, but it's Miki Shea 1 is the winner of the Freightpreneur t-shirt this week. Okay, cool. All right, yeah, so just send me that message on Facebook. If you don't send me the message, I can't send you the shirt, okay? There's no other way I can do it. All right, cool. So let's jump into some Q&A, guys. Who has questions? Tiffany jumped in and asked her questions starting early. How do you get ahead of breaking even? Okay. All right. So here's question number 1. Tiffany Mitchell says, how do you get ahead of breaking even, seeing steady profit? Okay. So break even as a freight broker is typically pretty easy because your monthly expenses are typically pretty low, right? What do you have as far as monthly expenses? You got a load board. Maybe you've got a bond cost. Maybe you have a little bit of insurance if you decide to have, contingent cargo. But again, I strongly suggest that you keep things very lean at startup. Only invest money in the things that you absolutely have to have. And they're the things that are going to be income producing tools and activities. Okay. So break even should be pretty easy. I mean, most brokers are going to break even at somewhere, depending somewhere between probably 5 and 10 loads in a month. They're going to break even, most freight brokers, right? As a startup, assuming you don't have a bunch of employees, right? And they're your customers. So it doesn't take a whole lot to break even. That's the good news, right? There's very low recurring cost to get set up as a freight broker. All right. So how do you get past that break even? The way you get past that break even is really just getting your first couple customers. Typically, your first customer, 2, 3 customers is going to get you into the break even zone. It could even get you into the profit zone, depending upon the size of the customer and the volume. But, like for example, month 1 in my brokerage, we did, I think, 12 loads my first month. By the end of the first year, we did over $1.2 million in sales and we were profitable. So it does take a little bit of time, but here's what I'm saying to you. As you start to generate positive cash flow, right? And part of that, you start paying yourself. You start putting money in your pocket, as little as it may be, 100 a week, 500 a week, 5,000 a week, 10,000 a month, whatever you start generating in profit, where you start paying yourself. Part of it's going to get reinvested in the business. We have to reinvest in the business. Part of it's going to get invested in our savings. We got to save money, and we got to pay our bills too, right? So we have to pay our bills. So my suggestion to you is, no matter how much money you take, if you pay yourself $100 a week or $500 a week, start saving 15 to 20% of that into your savings, into your retirement, right? So like I said to you before, if you can't save $15 out of 100, you're not going to save 1,500 out of 10,000. It just doesn't work that way. You have to build that muscle, right? And that's part of the reason why I wanted to go over this training today, because I wanted you guys to understand that, it's all about having a system. If you want to retire rich, you have to have a system for doing that. It's not just going to happen on its own. And most entrepreneurs make a huge mistake and push off the retirement until a later date because they try to reinvest all of those profits into the business and assume that they're going to be able to sell that business at some point in the future. And while that may happen, probability is you're going to overestimate the value of what that business is worth, because most business owners do. They always think their business is worth 10 times more than it really is. And so those are my suggestions on how to get beyond break even. Hope that helps, Tiffany. Okay, so here's a question from Bindra's vlog. I got broker license, but I don't know how to find shippers and what to talk or what to say, I'm assuming. All right, so you're asking a very general question. Here's what I'm going to suggest to you. Go to my YouTube channel. Okay, go to YouTube, type in Freight Broker Bootcamp, or I think it's youtube.com/Freight Brokers is the URL. And go to my playlist. And I think I have an entire playlist of free sales training that you can check out. There's over 20 videos there of free sales training, including cold calling. I think we talk about cold email. I think we talk about paid ads. We talk about overcoming objections. We talk about all these different sales related trainings. You can have all that for free. Just go to my YouTube channel, search for Freight Broker Bootcamp, or I think it's /Freight Brokers. You'll see a picture up there on it. It says Freight Broker Bootcamp, and take advantage of some of the free training there, right? Here's the other thing you can do. I'm going to be releasing my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program very soon. That's where I take this piece of my brain and I transplant it into your head and teach you my entire selling system on how to get shippers as a freight broker or freight agent. So I'm going to be opening that up. I've had that course twice now. It's sold out twice very quickly. I'm going to open it up again. It's going to sell out twice. Here's what I'm going to suggest to you. If you want to get on the wait list of this Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program, it's not a free program. It's going to be a paid program. Last time I sold it for $997, which was very cheap. The price is probably going to go up a little bit this time, but I haven't finalized what the price is going to be. If you guys want to check that out, here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's all you got to do. Go to, if you want to get on the wait list, okay, here's all you got to do. Go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. If you really need help with sales training, freight broker sales training, and you need a system to predictably get clients and shippers for your business, you definitely want to check out Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. It's probably not going to launch until early to maybe sometime in November. I'm not going to get it released in October. I was hoping I'd be able to get it done before Halloween, but it's not going to happen. So get on that wait list. The only way you're going to get a chance to become a part of the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program, okay, which is an online course and a coaching program built into one, where I actually coach you and mentor you on sales for 5 weeks, okay? If you want me to help you for 5 weeks coaching you, that's the program, okay? So it's probably going to launch in November, but you got to get on the wait list. It's sold out twice. It's going to sell out again. I limit the number of people that are involved in it because it does include coaching and my personal time. And so go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. You can check that out. Okay. All right. Hope that helps. Then you can also just get all my free trainings right on YouTube. Or you can get enrolled in freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Again, there's sales training built into that to help you get started. But again, this is much more, the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator is a much more advanced program, right? It has the entire system. I take that entire piece of my brain and I share it with you. All right. All right, let me see. Scrolling. Give me a second. All right, Derek asks a question. 6 months since I registered for my authority. Is that normal? Should I go ahead and purchase my load boards? Well, Derek, I don't know what you're waiting for. If you've had your authority for 6 months, what are you waiting for? Are you actively selling? Are you actively out marketing your business? Are you making phone calls? Are you doing quotes? Are you researching your niche? I mean, where are you at? I'm not quite sure. It seems a bit crazy to me that you're 6 months into this business and you don't have a load board yet. I don't know what you're doing. Please don't take it the wrong way. I know you're just asking a question, but I'm just curious. What are you waiting for? Right? The day that your freight broker authority goes active, you can start brokering loads. You need to be on the phone that day prospecting for shippers, right? So that's part of what Freight Broker Bootcamp prepares you for. That's what you need to do. Hope that helps. Tiffany has another question. Do you recommend switching to an SCorp, and at what point, if so? I would suggest you talk to an accountant about that. The advantage of an SCorp is that if you have a C Corp versus an S Corp, a C Corp has two taxes. You're taxed as a corporation and you're taxed on the income you take out of that corporation. As an S Corp, you're only taxed once. You're only taxed on the income, right? So there are advantages and disadvantages. I find that most small business owners have S Corps. We had an S Corp, okay? And so most cases you are going to go with an S Corp. There are some requirements from the IRS in order to be an S Corp. So you definitely want to consult a professional there or do some research online. So definitely check that out. And there is also some timeline, some limitations on how long you can go before you elect to go S Corp. So I would definitely talk to somebody about that. An accountant would be your best bet. All right, so here's a question from Marta Petrash. Given the market volatility, let's say a broker has got the freight quote approved and runs the lane for a few weeks. Then the market changes and the lane price goes up. What should you do? Renegotiate the price and send an updated freight quote? Absolutely. You're dealing, in most cases in this market right now, you do not want to be doing annual bids. If you do an annual bid and a shipper makes you do an annual bid, they're really just fooling themselves, because due to volatility, rates that are good today may not be good in a month or 3 months or 6 months, and definitely not in 12 months, right? There's a lot of market volatility. Now, the advantage of market volatility is it opens the door. This is the best time to get shippers. So the answer to your question is this. If you're running a lane and you're making money and you're able to service the lane effectively, and then all of a sudden some dynamics change, whether it be, usually it's going to be fuel prices or it's going to be supply and demand of trucks. And so if something changes where the price of a truck goes up dramatically, you have to go back in and renegotiate the rate with that shipper. You just have to. You're not going to sit there and continue to lose money on a load. Now, you may lose money on one load because you weren't prepared, but once that happens, because you took the load and you didn't know that the change had taken effect, but after that, you need to go back in and renegotiate. Your focus right now, your rates are predominantly going to be spot market rates. You cannot guarantee a rate for a year. It doesn't work that way. Right? Now, I know some shippers have these archaic systems where they only do annual bids, but the reality is, even in those bids, you can opt out and then renegotiate that rate. Now, they may not accept your rate, but the fact is you're not required, even in those annual bids, to accept those loads if market conditions have changed where you're going to be losing money. Now, that would be up to you, right? If you're making a little less money, you might want to weather the storm, but if you're losing money, you're going to have to cut that very quick. So I hope that helps. Bruce, I don't know what dredge freight is. Okay, I'm scrolling. Okay, so Tiffany's got a lot of questions, so I'm happy. Thank you, Tiffany. Good questions. What does the end of year look like for a broker? What do we need to give to who? Okay, so number one, you're going to need an accountant. Okay, you want to have an accountant. Now, it's going to cost you a little bit of money, maybe a few $100 a year, maybe $500 a year to do your books, but to have them done properly, you have to keep your financial house in order. You do not want to get behind on the IRS. You don't want to get behind on payroll tax. You don't want to get behind on any sort of tax. Okay. So number one, I highly suggest that you consult some sort of an accountant, right? Especially one that deals with entrepreneurs. That would be ideal, right? More of a business accountant, not just a CPA that deals with individual tax returns, right? So, I would consult with them. What you're going to have to do is this. The two things you really got to give them is you got to give them a ledger with all of your income, which is definitely going to be your bank account. You're going to have to give them a ledger of all your income and all of your expenses. That's how they're going to determine how much profit or loss you have in your business. And that will determine the tax that you'll have to pay. Okay. So you're basically just going to have to give them, you can just give them your bank account statements, and then they'll ask for anything extra that they need beyond that. But typically your bank statements showing all of your income and all of your expenses from that bank account are what you're going to have to share with them. Now, if you have other expenses or income that don't show up on your tax, on your bank account transactions and records and statements, then you're going to have to provide those separate. So if you paid something out of pocket or you used your personal credit card, you're going to need to show them receipts for all of that stuff if you want to expense it. Okay. Now, any income that comes in should always be going into the bank account, but sometimes you will expense things personally, whether that be a meal or whether that be some travel. And then obviously you can either reimburse that or you can share that with your accountant, and he'll help you understand how that's going to affect your business tax rate as well as your personal tax return. Okay. So strongly suggest you get an accountant, but that's the basics. A ledger with all the income, a ledger with all the expensive. And the best way to do that is to provide a copy of all the bank statements that you have for that tax year. Okay. That's what I do. Simple. All right. I'm scrolling. Okay, so Tatiana, question. Hey, Dennis, for a startup brokerage, what would be the best advice you could give? That's not too general of a question. What would be some good short-term goals and long-term goals? All right, so best advice I can give you for a startup freight brokerage is two things. Invest in sales training, learn how to sell. This is a very sales-oriented business. You have to do outreach. You have to have conversations, whether that be through email, through LinkedIn, or through phone or face-to-face. It's a contact sport. You need to learn how to sell. Invest in learning how to sell. If you want to become a part of the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, I've already shared with you how you guys can get on the wait list for that. Again, it's just the freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. If you want to buy, I've got tons of other books up here on sales training. If you want to read books and learn how to sell like I did early on, because I didn't have those types of courses or the opportunity to do that, there are tons of people you can reach out to for sales training books. But yeah, that would be one of my suggestions. The second thing is find a niche. Do research on your niche, right? You have to do research on your niche. That's all I can tell you, is that you will not succeed trying to be a jack of all trades, master of none. It's very hard in the freight brokerage business to serve multiple masters. And what I mean by that is, you're moving flatbed freight today and reefer freight tomorrow and power only the next day and cross border this day. And you're picking up in New York this day, but you're picking up in Washington the next day. You need to find a niche. So my suggestion is Search on YouTube or search on my blog, how to find a niche, your freight broker niche. And you'll see I go through basically a four-part framework on how you can find your niche. Those are the two biggest pieces of advice I can give a startup. Now, your second part of your question was, what are some short-term goals, right? Here, I'll pull this back up. What are some short-term goals to set and long-term goals? Short-term goals, your first short-term goal is to get your first customer and move your first load. That's the short-term goal number one. To move your first load profitably. That's your first short-term goal. Second short-term goal is to become cash flow positive, meaning you broker more loads and generate more profit than you are spending for the business, including load boards and all the things that your expenses associated with that, okay? That's your second short-term goal. Those are your two short-term goals. Your long-term goal is to build a highly profitable and highly lucrative freight brokerage. You can put that in terms of gross revenue. You can put that in terms of income in your pocket. You can put that in terms of how much money you're saving. I don't really care what it is, but it has to be focused on building some byproduct of building a highly profitable freight brokerage, right? For me, my first big goal was to do $1 million in sales. That was my goal for year one. We did 1.2 million. My next goal after that was to do 3 million. Year two, we did 3.6 million. The third year, my goal is to do 6 million. We did 6 million. The next year, the goal was to do 12 million. We did 12 million, right? So we continue to grow the business. I set big goals, but my long-term goal in that business was to eventually grow a business that was sellable. I invested over a decade in that business, okay, generated hundreds of millions of dollars in sales, but ultimately my goal there was not to retire from that business at 65 or 70 and run that business. I wanted to ramp that business up and eventually sell it. That was one of my goals. Now, that doesn't mean that needs to be your goal, but you need to set a long-term goal. So what is your exit strategy? That could be a really good long-term goal for you to think about, and very much in line with the training that we talked about today, which is, do you want to sell the business? Do you want to turn it over to one of your kids? What do you want to do? Do you just want to continue to work? Some people don't ever want to retire. I'm not going to retire. I'm not retired now. You see me here all the time, right? I still work. I could have retired years ago, but I decided not to because it's just not my style, right? I don't want to retire. I enjoy it. I love being an entrepreneur. I love being in business. I just wanted to switch into a new industry because I started getting a little bit bored, to be extremely honest with you. The company got to a size where it became a little bit too bureaucratic. And I'm much more of a startup guy. I'm a lean startup guy. I like to start and grow businesses. I don't like to take businesses that are already big and manage them. That's not my style. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some ideas, Tatiana. Mike, do you pay yourself on a 1099 or through a payroll service? Well, as the business owner, you're not going to have to 1099 yourself. Okay. So the smart thing is to pay it through a payroll service. If you can do it predictably, where you know you're going to pay yourself X amount of money, because then they're going to take all the taxes out and you don't need to worry about saving for taxes. If it's not predictable, then you're just going to pay yourself some sort of a salary or some sort of income weekly or monthly, and that'll come out of your account. Now, your accountant will then tell you how much income you've taken out, and then you will eventually have to pay those taxes, but it won't come in the form of you won't get a 1099. It'll just be income that the accountant will dedicate to you as a part of your expenses, right? Because your salary is an expense, right? So that's also an expense. So there's a lot goes into it, but you're not going to ultimately have to 1099 yourself. You'll just have to make sure whatever income you do take, that you pay your payroll tax, you pay your taxes on it, right? And that's where your accountant's going to come in. They're going to tell you how much you owe in your payroll tax. They're going to tell you how much you owe in your state tax and your federal tax, right? They're the ones who are going to keep track of that. And I strongly urge you, no matter how much money you're making or not making, keep track of those records and make sure you save your taxes. My suggestion to you is every dollar that you take out of the business, okay, every dollar that you personally take out of the business, set aside 30% of it for taxes. Now, chances are after expenses, you're not going to owe more, but you may owe less, but set that aside. That's a good rule of thumb. Every dollar that you take out in income, if you're not doing it through a payroll service, set aside 30% of it for taxes. That's not yours. You don't own that. Your partner owns that. Your partner is the IRS. Unfortunately, the US government is a partner in everybody's business. And so you do have to set aside that tax income, okay? That tax money. Hope that helps, Mike. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here's a question from Marta. What do you do cold email? When do you do cold email follow-up 7 times? Should every email be different, slightly modified, or is it okay to send email with the same text? Okay, so what Marta is asking is, if you're doing cold email where you're sending emails out to prospects versus calling them, she's asking if you have if you're going to send an email out to someone 7 times, do you change the message or do you keep the message the same? My suggestion is you change the message. And here's why. If you sent the message that said XYZ and they didn't respond to it, then there's a good chance one of 2 things happen. Either they didn't open your email or the message didn't resonate with them. But if you send that same message over and over again, it doesn't mean it's ever going to resonate with them. It doesn't mean that they're ever going to be impressed or it's going to make a good first impression. Here's what I know. If you keep sending the same message over and over again, there's a very good chance you're going to make a bad impression. So my suggestion is, if you're going to do 7 emails over a period of a week or multiple weeks, that you set up an entire sales cadence where not only do you send emails with different content and different messaging, but you're also leveraging a multi-touch point strategy. This is a big part of what I go over in the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, which is teaching you an entire multi-touch outreach strategy, including phone and email and social media and face-to-face, all of that, where you're building a sales cadence that all works together with the goal of, 1, making a good first impression, and number 2, getting people on the phone, right? Actually getting people on the phone. And secondly, obviously making a good first impression. So ultimately, that's a big part of what we go over in Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, which is that multi-touch point outreach strategy. And then we also talk a lot about, and I think it's important that you develop your sales hook. And that's kind of what you're talking about with these different emails. You want to have different sales hooks, because not every sales hook is going to resonate with every prospect. Because some people are experiencing different challenges, different issues. They have different types of businesses. They're at different stages of their career. And so, of course, not everybody resonates with the exact same message. So you have to come up with different types of messages. So I hope that helps, Marta. And again, if you want to be a part of the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, which is going to be launching in November, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. Okay. If you get on the wait list, you may have a chance. It's not guaranteed that you're going to get in the program, and you're not obligated to get in the program. But here's what I can tell you. If you're not on the wait list, you won't have a chance to get in the program, because it's sold out twice and it's going to sell out again. I'm going to limit this to less than 100 people. Okay. So I think I'm going to limit to maybe 100 people that are going to be able to get in the program. Just so you guys know, I have over 50,000 people on my email list. So if I send an email out now, it's going to sell out, right? So get on the wait list. This is kind of how I'm filtering out people that are really serious about growing their business and are interested in investing in themselves, is with this wait list. It helps make it a lot easier, okay, for everybody. All right. What time is it here? All right. So we're going to do, let's see. I'm sorry to hear that. Alaya, how much usually startup cost? You've already been scammed out of $2,200 from a freight broker class in Morrow, Georgia. I apologize for anything that they did to you. That has nothing to do with me, but I do feel bad. Part of the reason why I make Freight Broker Bootcamp so affordable, a 1-year membership is $185. A lifetime membership is $389, and we offer a 60-day 100% money back guarantee. Now, obviously, they didn't offer you any sort of guarantee. It's another reason why I do that. So if you want to become a part of Freight Broker Bootcamp, you can check that out. If not, the answer to your question is on my blog. Go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog and then type up type in the search bar, startup cost, right, for the blog. And you'll see an entire blog post where I break down every startup cost for freight, starting as a freight broker and as a freight agent. I break it down line item by line item by line item. Okay. So you can check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog, and then just search for startup cost. And then that blog post will come up. You can click on it. You can go through the entire thing. It'll have a whole article, a video, everything. That's what I would strongly suggest. Anybody interested in learning about startup costs, that would be the best place to go. And again, I'm sorry that you had a bad experience with that other company in Morrow, Georgia. I can't tell you how many times I've heard those horror stories. Again, I've trained over 10,000 students, done over $200 million as a freight broker, and I offer a 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee. I can't make it much easier than that. Give it a try. Okay, so Mike asks, okay, thank you. What about adding agents for purposes of paying them? Agents will be 1099 contractors. You will pay them a gross check, and they are responsible for their own taxes. It does not go through payroll. Okay? So independent contractors are 1099 independent contractors. You will pay them a gross commission check, and it is their responsibility to take care of the taxes. So I hope that helps. Last question. Fresh Fly EJ. What separates you from everybody else? Well, I think I've already said it. Number one, I've been an entrepreneur for 25 years. This isn't my part-time gig. I've only had one job in my life. I've built four multi-seven-figure businesses. I started my freight brokerage in 2003, did over $200 million as a freight broker, okay? In my freight brokerage, the brokerage that I owned, that I was the CEO and founder of, okay? And then I sold that company in 2016 to pursue some other ventures. So I've already done what you guys are trying to do. Secondly, I've also trained over 10,000 students. Many of them have went on to build 6 and 7 and even 8-figure businesses. You can see that on my YouTube channel, some of the interviews that I've done with past students. I just had Tim Quirk on, who's a broker out of Rochester, New York, who does over $1 million a month. I've also had Yogi Goswami, who's a past student who lives in India. I don't even know what he's going to do this year. My guess is in the next 12 months, he's going to do 10, 15, maybe $20 million in revenue. We've had other brokers that are doing 7 figures. We've had agents that are making multiple 6 figures. Okay. We had Lita Hakobayan, who just came on and did an interview recently. Her second month in the business as an agent, she did over $10,000 in commission. So not only do I have my own proof of what I was able to accomplish in the freight brokerage business, but I also have the proof of my students. Now, not everybody that takes my course goes on to become successful, but that's the way it is with everything. A lot of it comes down to their desire and willingness, right? To learn and embrace, take the system and go with it, right? I can't control that. I can only give you the system, the information. I can't do it for you. So I hope that helps, Fresh Fly EJ. I hope that answers your question. Thank you, William Freight Logistics. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Appreciate the kind words. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up for today. If you guys are curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Again, I know I've said this ad nauseum, trained over 10,000 students, offer a 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee. And, and I come back here every week, Mondays at noon, and do these lives. It's full online support. And I'm not sure how much easier I can make it for you guys. If you guys want to be a part of the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, which is going to be launching very soon in November, okay? You got to get on the wait list for the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. Get on the wait list, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/wait list. All you're going to have to do is get on that wait list. You'll get notified when the training, when I open enrollment, but you will have to respond right away. It's not a free program, but it's going to be worth 10 times whatever I charge for it. The last time it was $1,000, I'll be honest with you. But I did a survey of all the members afterwards, and the 1 out of 10, we rated the training 1 out of 10. Guess what they rated the training when I surveyed all the members? 9.7 out of 10. Not a 9, not an 8, a 9.7 out of 10. This is after they took the training, after they invested $1,000, okay, in the training, which is not a lot of money, okay? So get on the wait list. That's all I can tell you. It's going to be launching soon. I hope to see you in there. I'll be back next week, Monday, live, just like I am every week. I hope you guys have an awesome week, a profitable week, and we'll talk to you soon.